Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K Collector, and I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about the addiction to purchasing video games in general. Shout out to Iowa Retro Gamer Dad. He's done a ton of videos on video game collection addiction. I've watched his videos a ton, and I also have a video that I'll put the link in the description, where I talk about the many mistakes that I've made as a video game collector in terms of just buying too many games or buying too many of the wrong games. And then also, I actually even saw a video from Get the Greg Games. I think he's the dude who's always in a tank top. He also put out a video talking about just buying junk. So I figured I'd start off by talking about all of the video games that I've purchased so far this year in 2024, right? And the reason why I kind of have them split with games that are on the left and games that are on the right is because the games that you see on the left are games that I actually purchased with the intention of trying to sell them to build up a fund for a game collection challenge that I was going to be launching off into this year. And whenever I put together a game collection challenge, and I think a lot of YouTubers do it this way. One, game collection challenges are just fun. It's almost like, let me see if I can do this thing that seems really hard. Two, game collection challenges make for great content, right? Because who doesn't love a good game collection challenge? But I quickly realized about a week or two into the challenge that it wasn't something that I personally was going to be able to do, just because of everything that I have going on between my job, work. I'm doing renovations around my house, things that I have to do with the family, and I just don't have the time dedicated to it. So a lot of these games were the games that I picked up after just a couple weeks of being into the collection challenge. And these are games, for the most part, that I actually still need to sell. Now, once I decided to quit the collection challenge, I thought, you know what, I'll probably keep some of these games in my collection, but these games weren't purchased with the intent to necessarily keep them in my collection. Now, the games that you see here on the right, these are games that I actually acquired to add to my collection. So these are the games that I've picked up so far in 2024 that were going to be a part of my collection from the very start, right? And I want to say, with the exception of the Red Star, Seven Samurai, Maximo, so pretty much with the exception of these games here, these 4 games that you're looking at right here are all games that I got as part of a trade. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that coming out of 2023 and going into 2024, I went through a huge selling phase where I sold off 90% of my Switch collection. And not just my Switch collection, I was selling off huge chunks of my collection, period, like 3DS games, DS games. I was selling Vita games. I sold off a huge chunk of my PSP collection. I even sold off some more of my retro stuff. But as I was going through that selling process, I realized, you know what, I don't want to sell everything, and I wasn't completely done with video game collecting. And I told myself that I would be pretty selective in the games that I keep and the games that I acquire. And so these 4 games here, complete in box Super Nintendo games, along with Last Resort, these 4 games were actually acquired while I was selling off some of my collection. So these were really more so trades. I wound up trading a bunch of Switch games to add these to my collection because I wanted to go more in the retro direction with my collection, which is why you'll notice pretty much every game, with the exception of the Yakuza Kiwami, every game that I've added to my collection so far this year is retro. It's pretty much Gen 7 and older. And we'll talk about that in a second. So the reason why I kind of went this route is just because I wanted to reduce the total amount of games that I had in my collection. At the time, I had a lot of games, and I didn't think that I would actually be able to get through and play them all. Unfortunately, I don't have the time and the setup right now to do a lot of Let's Play videos. Although in some of my videos, in my more formal videos, I will show you some gameplay footage of some of the games that I am playing. But usually my videos are in this raw, uncut, just rough and rugged format where I'm just kind of shooting them on my phone, and I'm really just having dialogue with the followers of the channel. And then, we just usually let things play out in the comment section. But retro or even video game collection addiction is real, and it is easy to get caught up in buying a lot of junk. And now I'm not saying that these games are junk, because these are good games, they're quality games. As you can see, a lot of them are PS3 games, because PS3 games are easy to find and they're cheap. I would say all of these games in total, picking all of these games up, probably cost me about, I don't know, maybe $120, just, from buy two get ones, pawn stores, pawn shops, thrift stores, different things like that. So, and then the only other like accessory that I picked up was this original authentic Neo Geo controller, because I do have a few Neo Geo shoot 'em ups. I wound up trading for Last Resort, and I tried playing Last Resort with the original like Neo Geo controller, and it's just hard using like the old school joystick controller. It's tough. Shoot 'em ups require quick reflexes, things like that, and they're just easier for me to play with that style of controller. But collection addiction is real, and you can get caught up in it for sure. And that's why I kind of set some more strict guidelines for myself in terms of what I'm going to be picking up. And it's the reason why I pretty much only add retro games to my collection at this point. I try not to buy a lot of PS4 games unless they're like, unless it's like a unique indie title, a shoot 'em up, a side scroller, a beat 'em up that I just don't see every day. That I'll add. But the older stuff I'm just not super into. Sorry, the newer stuff I'm just not super into. I'm going after the older stuff. The other thing that I've been doing to kind of make sure that I keep myself in check is, if I'm gonna add to my collection, I'm usually selling something. Now, what I'm selling doesn't necessarily need to be video games. If I find, I have all types of stuff. I actually have a PS4 that's sitting in the corner over there that I'm getting ready to sell, because I don't really need it. I don't use it. It was given to me as a gift. But, I'm not playing it at the moment, right? I do have another PS4. So any like double ups, I'm going to get rid of as well. I do have a few doubles in my collection. So I am getting rid of a few doubles, and even some games that I found, which aren't in the box, because those are just like doubles, and those other games are just games that I've had in my collection. But so far in 2024, this is what I've added. And I feel pretty good about that. If I were to count it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 11 or 12 games over the first basically 3.5 months of the year. And they're quality titles that I actually play, games that I thoroughly enjoy. And there are ways that you can deal with, game collecting addiction. And I think Get the Greg Games did a really good job of just kind of talking through how to avoid it. How to avoid, buying the games that are cheap. Yeah, you might pick them up because they're cheap. And it's easy, especially when GameStop has a buy two, get one. You want to run through and pick up all of the cheap stuff, because it's like, man, buy two, get one. I could buy like 20, $9.99, games that are $9.99 and add to my collection. But I think that's where you kind of get caught up, and that's kind of where you get lost. Now, for me, I felt like the game collection challenge that I had was good, because I was limiting myself to one Super Nintendo game per month. But even that is too much for me at this point. And so I kind of just have to figure out a new way of doing that collection, and figure out a new way of, adding, some of the Super Nintendo games that I want to my collection. But I guess my advice is, right now, unless the PlayStation 3 is something that you're really trying to build and collect for, the best thing you can do is really set up strict guidelines for yourself to avoid collection addiction. Like I said, I do talk about the many mistakes that I made collecting video games in the video that I'll link in the description of this video, so you can watch that. It's about a 25-minute video, and it kind of just goes into detail about my collection journey. But at this stage of the game, this is where I'm at so far this year. And I'll go through them with you. Last Resort, complete in-box copy of Last Resort. Picked that up very beginning of the year. I want to say the first week of the year I picked that up. Complete in-box copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. Complete in-box copy of Castlevania, Super Castlevania 4. Complete in-box copy of Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. All of the inserts are in all of these boxes. So the game, the pamphlets, the inserts, all that stuff. Got a complete in-box copy here of the Red Star. I played this like the week I got it. I actually bought this sealed. Cracked the seal open and got into this game. This is a ton of fun. I think the big guy with the kind of axe shovel deal there, it's better to play with him than the girl. He just does more damage than she does. And I like that because it's a combo between a side scroller and a shoot 'em up. Really great game. Seven Samurai, another one that I picked up and added to the collection. Then you've got Maximo, Army of Zen. Played a bunch of this as well. A lot easier than the first one, but still a great game. What else we have here? Transformers Fall of Cybertron. This is the one game that I picked up so far this year that I have not played at all, so I do have to set some time aside to get into that. Yakuza Kiwami, I just picked this back up. I had this in my collection, sold it, but I got it back the other day as part of, was this part of the, I think I got this, yeah, as a part of the buy two get one. Journey to Silius, a retro game that I was shocked to find on GameStop, and I really just bought this game to see if GameStop actually had the game, and they did. They sent it to me, and I was pleased. It was in great condition, and that's a really fun side-scrolling run-and-gun game on the NES. I don't really know about a ton of those. Super Bomberman 2, this is another one that I picked up from GameStop, and then last but not least, X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, which is a game that I've been wanting to add to the collection. So a pretty good bunch of games, you know, just trying to add quality to the collection, not trying to add everything that I see and find. And now that I'm not doing my collection challenge anymore, I have to figure out what I'm going to do with all of these PlayStation 3 games, because I'm not really going to be keeping these in the collection. Oh, I forgot a few. Whoops. Also added these. Sorry. Forgot to mention. Yep. So these were also a part of what I picked up. So I'm thinking about keeping the Xbox 360 games because I know the store shut down. So those are games that I'm thinking about adding and keeping in the collection. And I may keep some of these PS3 games as well. But these were all meant to be sold. These were all purchased to be sold. And these were the real ones that were added to the collection so far. So I'm not really sure yet what I'm going to do, but I'll ask you down in the comments. What do y'all think? Do you think I should keep them? Obviously, the doubles I'm going to sell, but do you think I should still go ahead and flip these? Do you think it'll be easy to flip? I know a lot of people told me when I first did a video on these, a lot of the feedback was that these are going to be really hard to flip because they have a low margin, a low profit margin. But these are the ones that are actually meant to be in the collection and are going to stay in the collection. And if you want to know more just about my journey and just, you know, collecting, the mistakes that I've made collecting video games, definitely check the link in the description and you'll get to see more there. But it's the Y2K Collector, just kind of chopping it up with you again. It's time for me to go get ready to feed the fam. I'm chefing it up tonight. We're going to do a little salmon. Hopefully you're having a good week. Hopefully, you know, you're finding some good stuff. You're getting to take that time to be able to chill, relax with your fam. Play some video games if you can. It's a busy week. Renovations take all your time, but hopefully we get some time over this weekend coming to kind of jam out. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.